In order to be with Ethan, I cut off ties with my biological parents. Not long after that, I found out that I was pregnant and discussed getting married with him. But his mother seemed to change her attitude completely. Anyway, your family doesn't lack that much money. Let's skip the betrothal gifts. Getting pregnant before marriage is not honorable. Let's just get the marriage certificate first. We'll hold the wedding after you give birth to a son. There's no rush anyway. Later, Ethan had an affair, and I died during a difficult childbirth. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn a year ago. I overheard his mother saying in his home, "Make her pregnant before marriage. Once the deed is done, won't she obediently listen to you then?" Ethan's family was not well off. His father passed away a few years ago, leaving him and his mother a pile of debts. He and I were alumni in college. After I failed the postgraduate entrance examination, I was quite depressed. He comforted me every day and took meticulous care of me. I had been with him for half a year and then went home to meet his parents. His mother asked us to get married earlier. At that time, I didn't understand the hidden meaning behind her words. I didn't want to get married so early, but soon I got pregnant. My family was quite wealthy. Both of my parents were in business and had a wide range of experiences. They didn't like Ethan at first sight. My father said, "Either you abort this child or never come back home." Looking at Ethan's sincere eyes, I impulsively chose the latter. However, after I cut off ties with my parents, everything seemed to change. His mother began to dislike me in every way. We lived in a cheap rental house, and I had to do all the housework by myself. His mother put it nicely, saying it was for me to exercise. So when it was 30 degrees Celsius in the summer and she didn't turn on the air conditioner, I got heatstroke and was sent to the hospital. All I heard from his mother was, "We're really supporting a master at home. Before even giving birth to a son, you're wasting money all day long." Long-term malnutrition and emotional depression led to my death during childbirth. Perhaps God still had a bit of mercy. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in this room. Hearing his mother's words made me feel as if I had fallen into an ice cellar. I completely woke up. Everything was a scam. What Ethan had his eye on was never me, but the wealth and prosperity that my family behind me could bring him. After I cut off ties with my family, of course he didn't like me anymore. The love that I believed in my previous life, I would never repeat the same mistake in this life. However, I couldn't reveal my abnormal emotions now because I was in his rural hometown. This place was really remote. It took several transfers to get to the town. If I broke up with him now, in my isolated and helpless state, there was no telling what he might do. I sorted out my messy emotions and calmly walked out of the room. "Ethan, let's go back to see my parents together tomorrow." When Ethan saw me suddenly come out, there was a bit of guilt in his eyes, but he also looked a bit happy. "Great, Violet." I caught a glimpse out of the corner of my eye that his mother gave him a wink. Sure enough, in the evening, he opened the door of my room, jumped onto my bed, and hugged me tightly. I pushed him away at once. "Ethan, I'm having my period. It's inconvenient today." Ethan still didn't let go. "I'll just hug you, just hug you." Images of his various faces in my previous life flashed through my mind. The closer he was to me now, the more disgusted I felt. "Ethan, we still have to catch the bus tomorrow. Let's go to bed early today." I turned around and wrapped the quilt tightly around me. He didn't make any more inappropriate moves. What made me most grateful in this life was that I woke up very early. We hadn't had any physical relationship yet, and nothing bad had happened yet. We got on the bus back to the city and left this mountain village where I was unfamiliar with everything. Next, I had to get back the 500,000 yuan that I had given him. When I was in a low mood, Ethan showed great concern for me. So I developed a strong dependence on and affection for him. When I learned that his family owed a large amount of debt, I borrowed 500,000 yuan from my father and lent it to him. He repeatedly said that he would pay me back later. When I lived in the cheap rental house he rented, eating 2 dishes and 1 soup with little oil, his mother still said, "Pregnant women shouldn't be too delicate. Eating too much rich food is not good for the fetus. You don't have a job now, and it's not easy for my son to work hard. You should be understanding, but when I complained to him about my grievances, he said to me, my mother didn't even take care of the chickens and ducks in the countryside just to take care of you who's pregnant. Aren't you satisfied with how good she is? I didn't have a wedding, nor did I get the marriage certificate. As a fresh graduate, I didn't even have a penny in savings. After cutting off ties with my parents, I lost all my backers and confidence and was at the mercy of him and his mother. Unfortunately, when I gave him the money, I didn't ask him to write an IOU.SO if I asked for it back on my own initiative. Not only would he not give it back, but he would also be alerted. I had to make him willing to spit out this money. I reserved a restaurant for dinner and made a phone call to my parents. Ethan brought his mother along. Before the relationship turned sour, his mother always looked amiable. But I would never forget that she made me go to pick up express deliveries and buy groceries under the scorching sun, climb up to the 7th floor to get home, and then she locked me outside the door. An hour later, she slowly opened the door, saying that she hadn't heard the knock. I suppressed my inner anger and took them to meet my parents. Thinking about this moment in my previous life, I was still pregnant at that time. My father's attitude was still not good. He was very dissatisfied with how I had found such a boyfriend and gave away 500,000 yuan just because of a few nice words. My father was still the same, looking indifferent. Ethan, isn't it a bit early for you to marry my daughter now? You've just graduated and your income is unstable. Ethan's answer was still sincere. Uncle, my work has already been on the right track. I can definitely give Violet a good life, and I love Violet very much. You can believe in my love, which will last until death. I sneered in my heart. Love that lasts until death? Can Ethan's love feed me? His love was only worth 2 dishes and 1 soup. My father wasn't moved by these words. My mother was soft-hearted and was a bit touched by these words. She asked my father to stop being so sarcastic. Ethan's mother had a big smile on her face. Relatives by marriage, look, the 2 children like each other. Let's not break them up. My father immediately said, hey, don't call us that yet. Our 2 families haven't become relatives yet. We're just having a meal now. All right. Let's eat. Let's eat first. After saying that, Ethan's mother began to eat heartily. Her eating manners were really ugly, as if everyone present was going to compete with her for food. After dinner, I sent Ethan and his mother back to the rental house. After his mother went upstairs, I gave him another boost. Ethan, although my father's words were not pleasant, after this meal, his impression of you has also changed. As long as you achieve something in your career, we can get married soon. My father wouldn't be moved by his sweet talk at all. Neither would I. There always has to be one who plays the bad cop and one who plays the good cop. What I said just now was just to plant an obsession in his mind. Given his intentions towards my family, he would definitely take the bait. After calming him down, I was ready to take a taxi home. I didn't pay attention to the license plate number. When I saw a car stop in front of me, I got in. I gave the last few digits of my mobile phone number, but the driver didn't say a word. Oh no. Did I encounter an unlicensed taxi at night? Violet, we haven't seen each other for a year. You already have a boyfriend. The driver called out my name accurately. I couldn't see his face clearly, but I thought his voice was a bit familiar. He turned his head and smiled at me. What? Don't you even recognize me? Quentin, why is it you? Didn't you go abroad? Quentin is my childhood friend. In my eyes, he's a cynical playboy. We've been fighting with each other since we were kids. We didn't like each other. We went to the same university, and we could argue on WeChat until our mobile phones ran out of battery. I folded my arms and looked at him with a sarcastic tone. What? Didn't do well abroad and came back to be a driver? Yeah. I'm the driver for you, miss. My car is very expensive. Please pay double the fare when you get off. I clicked my tongue and didn't want to talk to him anymore. While he was driving, his eyes kept glancing at the rearview mirror. I don't know why, but compared with Ethan, I found Quentin quite pleasing to the eye. A few days later, I told Ethan that his application to work in my father's company had been approved. Wasn't that his goal? I would help him achieve it. Anyway, I had already informed his department supervisor. Next, it was up to me to play the game. I still maintained a relationship with him as a lover. Before I got my 500,000 yuan back, I didn't want him to run away. He was doing quite well in the company. Actually, with his professional ability, he couldn't have entered this department at all. However, to magnify his greed, this was just a little bait. In just 2 months, he had been promoted to the project team leader. With me supporting him, he liked me more and more now. I had brought him a lot of fame and fortune, which were the things he had always dreamed of in his previous life. He was having a sweet dream, but I didn't expect his ex-girlfriend to come to the company. Neither did he. Coincidentally, even though he pulled her to a secluded place, I still heard their conversation word for word. Ethan, don't tell me you really like her? You said that our breakup was just fake. Gina, I've told you not to look for me during this period. Now you've come to my company. What if someone sees you? If I didn't come, you wouldn't see me either. You said that you would only love me in this lifetime. You just got close to Violet for money, right? Oh, so Ethan's love was like something sold in bulk. Everyone was supposed to be the only one in his heart. Seeing that she was emotional, Ethan quickly comforted her. Don't worry. How could I not like you? I'll go to see you tonight. Don't worry. After they finished talking, they hugged and cuddled for a long time. Only then did Gina leave satisfied. If I hadn't seen this scene today, I might never have discovered that Ethan had an ulterior motive when he first got close to me. In the evening, I hid downstairs in his community. He knew that I wouldn't come to see him tonight, so when I saw him wrapped up tightly and going downstairs, sure enough, Gina also appeared. Gina threw herself into his arms. I knew you loved me. Of course. You're much better than her. It's been more than half a year, and she didn't even let me touch her. You're more sensible. The two of them hugged and then got into a taxi. Unexpectedly, I caught them red-handed. During the rush hour after work, I wanted to catch up with them but couldn't get a taxi. Just when I was stamping my feet anxiously, a black car lowered its window, and I saw Quentin's annoying face. He raised an eyebrow. Get in. I'll accompany you to catch the cheaters. Quentin, how did you know I was here? You've been spending all your time with that useless boyfriend of yours. You didn't reply to my messages. I knew you'd come here. I really didn't reply to his messages because his messages were either emoticons or various attempts to compete with me. Sometimes he would even send me a picture of a cat yawning. I got into his car and followed the taxi that Gina and Ethan were in. I watched them enter a hotel. Before they even entered the room, they started kissing passionately at the door. Quentin reacted faster than me and immediately took out his phone to record it. Your boyfriend is really something. I've only been away for a year, and your taste has become so bad. I gave Quentin a blank look, and he shut up sheepishly. The two of them closed the door. Unfortunately, this hotel was cheap, so the sound insulation was poor. We could hear their voices clearly outside the door. The video has been taken, and now as long as we knock on the door, we can catch them in the act. Should we go in? Quentin looked at me, waiting for me to make a decision. Anyway, we've already taken the video. Let's go back. Because he hadn't returned my 500,000 yuan yet, I couldn't break up with him on bad terms for now. While following me, Quentin asked incredulously, Violet, don't tell me you still like this scumbag? What does it have to do with you? How could it have nothing to do with me? Our two families are old friends. When we were in college, your father asked me to take good care of you. Now that you've met the wrong person, I'm directly responsible. What my father said, you can go to him to take responsibility. Quentin drove me home. When my father saw him, he was as happy as if he had seen something precious. He insisted on inviting him to stay for dinner. I felt like I was the redundant daughter. I went back to my room and called my good friend, who was also Ethan's department supervisor. Now it was time to set the hook. 2 months later, I told Ethan that the company was going to adjust its current business focus. They planned to invest in another project, but this project didn't need too many people. So the company was going to lay off employees. He hadn't even warmed his seat as the project team leader yet, and suddenly he was about to fall from the clouds. When I went to see Ethan, he looked even more anxious and distressed than if his father had died. "Violet, please help me. I've finally achieved something. I can't lose this job. If I lose my job, I'll lose you. You know I love you very much. I'll die if I leave you." He held my hand, crying bitterly. "Ethan, this is the company's decision. There's nothing I can do about it." I deliberately paused as if I had something to say but held back. "However, oh, never mind." He got excited. "You can't just let it go. Violet, tell me. You can invest in this project with me. My father has approved it. It's said that the year-end dividend will be quite good. It's just that the initial investment cost is a bit high. I'm afraid you can't afford it. How much should I invest?" "About 1 million yuan or so. But that's the minimum. The more you invest, the greater the return will be. When you achieve good results, my father will surely agree to our marriage." Ethan hesitated and said, "But I don't have that much money, Violet. Please help me again." "Could you please help me?" I reluctantly said, "All right. For the sake of you being my boyfriend, I'll try to fight for it. You can invest about half of it in the early stage, and I'll ask my father to cover the rest for you. Okay? I'll definitely raise 500,000 yuan. Violet, you're really my lucky star." After saying that, he hugged me. But at this moment, I found that Gina was standing at the door. I never expected Gina to show up. However, judging from her reaction, it seemed that she didn't expect that I would come on Sunday. Both of her hands were full of vegetables and fruits. It seemed that the two of them were going to have a romantic evening together. I asked knowingly, "Ethan, who is she?" Gina also stared at me without showing any weakness, as if she wanted to devour me. Ethan himself didn't have enough confidence when he spoke. "Violet, she's a junior from my university." "Oh? A junior. Why did she buy so many things? And that new pair of pink slippers on the shoe rack at the door, are they hers too?" Knowing that he couldn't explain it clearly, Ethan was about to drive Gina away. Gina threw the things in her hands and said to me with full confidence, "I'm Ethan's girlfriend. We've been together since our freshman year." "You're just an interloper." Ethan shouted at her, "Gina, don't make trouble here. If you don't get out immediately, don't blame me for being rude." Ethan raised his hand, which really startled Gina. It was also the first time I saw Ethan act like this towards Gina. In my previous life, I also found out that they were having an affair, but what I faced was his angry roar at me, "Violet, don't be unreasonable. We're already married. What else can you do?" Yeah, in my previous life I was abandoned by everyone and even lost my life. What else could I do? Seeing that Ethan was about to hit her, Gina's eyes filled with tears. "Ethan, are you going to hit me for her?" "Ethan, I'm telling you that I'm already pregnant with your child. Do you have the heart to hit me?" This news was like a bolt from the blue for Ethan. He immediately turned around to see my reaction. I just smiled and said, "Then I won't disturb you too." I left very resolutely. He couldn't hold me back. Instead, Gina held him back. When I went downstairs, I saw Quentin again. I really couldn't understand why he did nothing every day just because his family was rich. Quentin walked up to me with an umbrella. "It seems that there's another scene of catching cheaters today." I was speechless. "Is your daily job just watching the fun?" "No, there's something else." His eyes were firm and he smiled. "Also, watching you." Quentin was very close to me, and he smelled of nice cedar. In the past 20-some years, I had never experienced such an ambiguous atmosphere as at this moment. I subconsciously avoided his gaze and then soberly pushed him away. "Quentin, are you out of your mind?" Quentin wasn't angry. He followed me and drove me home. His task seemed to be like that of a driver helping me catch cheaters. Although he always talked in a frivolous way, I didn't seem to dislike him that much. I mentioned breaking up with Ethan, but he still didn't forget to apologize to me on WeChat every day. He said that he would solve these problems. It was said that he seemed to be raising money. It seemed that he had spent part of the 500,000 yuan that I lent him before. Now, for the sake of his job and future, he still decided to take a gamble. A few days later, when I went out, I found him waiting downstairs at my house. He looked a bit haggard. When he saw me, his eyes immediately lit up. "Violet. I've finally waited for you." "Ethan, we've already broken up. Go find your Gina." He shook his head and rushed over to hold my hand. "Violet, don't worry. She won't affect our relationship. I'm sincere to you." I shook off his hand and looked at him, wondering what outrageous words he could come up with. "So what about the pregnant Gina?" He looked at me excitedly. "Don't worry. I asked her to have an abortion." Ethan is really outrageous. He created his own troubles and they got in the way of his future. So I don't know what sweet words he said to make Gina have an abortion. Because this is a crucial time and he can't afford to lose everything he got by relying on me. I calmly looked at him and said, "Then work hard. We'll talk about it after the investment is over." He thought that what I said was an affirmation of our future. In fact, when his investment is over, it will be completely over between him and me. Ethan got my answer and happily rushed to work. Today's sun was a bit dazzling, just like the scene in my previous life when I was pregnant and ran under the scorching sun to buy groceries. I opened my umbrella and shook my head. "Come out. Don't hide anymore." Immediately a head popped out from the flower bed on the right. Quentin, holding a branch in his hand, looked around. I thought I hid quite well. "Quentin, aren't you childish? Why are you still playing hide and seek like when we were kids?" He walked up to me, took my umbrella, and held it over my head. "Since you broke up, are you unhappy?" I deliberately teased him. "How could I be? I'm quite happy. If you can find me a male model, I'll be even happier." He paused for a moment. He didn't expect me to say that. "Then you pay me, and I'll be your male model. You can touch my abs as you like." Quentin's gaze was even hotter in the sunlight, although there was a bit of playfulness in it. I suddenly stepped on his foot. He yelped in pain, but he still held the umbrella for me and followed me wherever I went. Not long after that, I received the news that Ethan had sold his old family house. With the money I lent him before, he had managed to raise 500,000 yuan. However, what he didn't expect was that the money went into my account. This was originally my money. I went on a trip for nearly 1 or 2 months. I happily lay on the sofa, blowing the air conditioner, eating watermelon and watching variety shows. Ethan kept calling and sending voice messages to me, but I didn't answer any of them. I had already broken up with him long ago. Now it's time to let him get out of my father's company. I sent the video and audio recordings taken by Quentin to someone. Let them play their due roles. According to the description, all of Ethan's reactions were within my control. The pictures of him and Gina having an affair were accidentally spread in the company's group. He was condemned both morally and behaviorally. Ethan was furious. "Where's my 500,000 yuan?" Said helplessly, "Investment always involves risks. There's nothing we can do about it. I've also lost a lot of money in it. Believe it or not, I'll sue you. This is fraud." Was not afraid at all and said, "Fine. I'm waiting." Ethan was now at the end of his rope. How could he afford to hire a lawyer? He bombarded me with messages. "Violet. Give me back my 500,000 yuan. Otherwise, don't force me." I casually typed a line and sent it. "Ethan, just because that 500,000 yuan stayed with you for a few days, you really thought it was your money?" The screen of my mobile phone showed that the other side was typing many times. I thought that he should also know that he was in the wrong in this matter. I quickly clicked to block him. In an instant, my mobile phone was snatched away again. Quentin looked down at me and said, "When we're out having fun, don't let such dirty things affect your mood." I jumped up to grab it. "Quentin, are you out of your mind again? Give my mobile phone back to me." "Sorry, I didn't take any medicine today." He paused for a moment and then realized that what he said was wrong. And I snatched my mobile phone back. "All right, we'll go to watch the sunrise at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning." But we have to hurry on our way tonight. Blocking Ethan made the world so quiet. The wind at night was blowing very comfortably. There were mountain roads along the way. I stretched my hand out of the car window. Quentin frowned and said, "Pull your hand in. It's very dangerous. Don't you know that?" I didn't listen to him and continued to feel the summer night wind with my hand. He stopped the car. "Quentin, I'll pull my hand in." "Why did you stop the car?" He turned around to look at me. "Well, it seems that the car has run out of gas." "Quentin, you're so unreliable. Why didn't you fill up the gas before going out?" "What should we do now?" He comforted me. "It's okay. I know this road. There should be a gas station ahead." He got out of the car and planned to go ahead to have a look. I don't know why, but the originally cool summer wind suddenly had a hint of chill. I got out of the car and grabbed his hand. "Quentin, don't go." He pinched my face and smiled. "Don't worry. I'll just be away for a little while. Don't be so reluctant to part with me." At this moment, my dependence on Quentin reached its peak. However, without gas, we couldn't reach the homestay tonight and could only sleep in the car. He asked me to sit in the car and call him if anything happened. I squatted on the ground, hugging myself, and watched his receding figure, which reminded me of my previous life. Because I had a quarrel with Ethan, he left me, who was still pregnant, on the mountain road in his hometown. He drove away and didn't come back to look for me all night. Even when the villagers passing by took me to his home the next day, he didn't show any sign of regret. It was also a summer night like today that I slept on the mountain road where I was unfamiliar with everything for a whole night. The same fear filled my whole body. I was shaking all over. In the following days of my life, I had the same nightmare on several nights. I was left behind again and couldn't find my way home anymore. I never wanted to experience such a night again. However, tonight, Quentin made me feel the same situation as in my previous life. All the terrifying memories flooded into my mind. I couldn't forget those painful days. It was like a person drowning in the deep sea who finally found a floating log but was knocked down again. Quentin didn't come back. I hugged my head and started to cry. The cicadas around were chirping louder and louder. I covered my ears and cried. I don't know how long I cried until suddenly I was hugged into a familiar embrace. Quentin came back. "Violet, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have left you here. I'm back." My clear consciousness made me push him away, and he looked shocked. The fear dissipated the moment I saw Quentin, but a new fear began. I couldn't guarantee that Quentin wouldn't be the next Ethan. We went down the mountain and didn't go to watch the sunrise. I left very early the next day. I bought a ticket back home by myself and went home. I didn't answer Quentin's calls. However, I received a call from an unknown number. A familiar female voice came from it. "Violet, let's meet. I have something very important to tell you." It was Gina. Before going to meet her, I took a look at the messages Quentin had sent me. Gina invited me to her home. She looked very tired. She really had aborted the child. She believed Ethan's nonsense so easily. She handed me a glass of water. "Have some water. It's a pity to ask a young lady like you to come to our cheap rental house." She didn't have the usual hostility towards me. "Gina, what do you want from me?" "To have a heart-to-heart talk." "What else could it be?" "What do you think we can talk about?" "Talk about Ethan?" "Sorry, I don't like him at all." Gina's originally round face was now a bit sunken, making her look very haggard. "There's nothing we can do. Ethan just likes you. You're so rich. We can't do without you." Her words reminded me of the days in my previous life when Ethan often borrowed money from me. So the money Ethan borrowed from me was used to support him, his mother, and Gina. "Sorry, I have nothing to do with him anymore. Goodbye." Gina looked up at me, and the smile in her eyes was a bit thought-provoking. "Even if there's no relationship, we can create one." Before I could figure out what she meant by this sentence, the next moment I felt dizzy and couldn't even get out of the door. "Gina. How dare you drug me?" Gina stood up, put away her smile, and stared at me. "I've said that Ethan likes you. Only when he's doing well can I be well." For his sake, I can do anything. Then I vaguely saw a man coming out of Gina's room. When he walked up to me, I realized that this man was Ethan. This was a trap they set up together. Gina loved Ethan to such an extent, sure enough, a scumbag and a mean woman were a perfect match in this life. Ethan picked me up and threw me into the room. As soon as the door was closed, he threw himself at me. In vain did I act in front of you for so long. How dare you play tricks on me? Didn't you forbid me to touch you? Violet, let's see how you can resist me this time. The effect of the drug kicked in, and I didn't have the strength to resist with my whole body. The next second, he started to take off my clothes. When I thought that there was no hope of resistance, the door was burst open. A blurry figure rushed in, dragged Ethan to the ground and punched him hard in the face several times. The two of them fought with each other until the police came and separated them. I had sent my location to Quentin before going to Gina's home. Quentin arrived very quickly. As soon as he entered the door and saw the scene, he just focused on beating Ethan. It was Gina who called the police because the two of them were fighting so fiercely that it seemed they wouldn't stop until one of them was beaten to death. Ethan was sentenced to 3 years in prison for attempted rape. Gina was an accomplice and was sentenced to 1 year in prison. Ethan's mother often came to make a scene at my doorstep, accusing me of bullying others with my wealth, being heartless and ungrateful. She said all kinds of nasty things, which was no different from what happened in my previous life. Quentin hired a few people and deliberately blocked her in an alley to scare her. After that, Ethan's mother didn't dare to come again. It was said that she was so frightened that she had a heart attack and stayed in the hospital for about half a month and still hadn't been discharged. I had known all along that his mother was a bully who was only brave towards the weak. It was just her comeuppance. When Quentin came to see me, I didn't want to meet him either. Because I was afraid that he might turn out to be another Ethan. I went on a trip with my mother to avoid all this chaos. My mother asked me, "Are you deliberately avoiding Quentin?" She saw through my thoughts. She gently stroked my head and smiled tenderly. "Quentin has liked you since high school. Your father and I could both tell. Don't tell me you didn't notice it." Huh? Quentin liked me since high school? But I remembered that in high school, Quentin always said that I was stupid and that I wouldn't be able to get into a good university like that. He took away my pen and wrote down detailed steps and techniques for solving math problems in my notebook. Idiot, I've clearly written down the problem-solving ideas for this type of questions for you. Do this kind of questions again tomorrow and let me check them. But I'm going to the cinema tomorrow. Then take them to the cinema and do them there. I didn't do the questions, but he still went to the cinema with me and we both laughed heartily while watching the movie. When I was punished to copy something, he deliberately imitated my handwriting and helped me copy more than half of it. When he slapped it on my desk, his tone was so arrogant. "I've copied it for you. Hurry up and prepare my birthday present. Don't let me down." He always liked to compete with me. We had endless things to talk about every day, but I noticed that he hardly said a few words to other girls. When filling out the college entrance examination application forms, he said, "Seeing how pitiful you are, and that there will be no one to look after you at college, I'll reluctantly apply for the same university as you." He scored 60 points higher than me. Yet he used the most unconvincing reason to enter the same university as me. But was all of this really because he liked me? Silly girl, everything he does revolves around you. Everyone can see that. It's just that Quentin is a proud and reserved kid. He didn't dare to tell you. What he didn't expect was that after he went abroad, I actually got another boyfriend. My mother's words made me think about it for a long time. During the year when he was abroad, he shared with me the scenery and delicious food from different places every day. He took pictures of whatever he saw and sent them to me. In our previous life, because he sent messages too frequently and Ethan saw them, Ethan asked me to block him. At that time, I was so lost in the false tenderness fabricated by Ethan that I cut off ties with my parents and friends. During the year when he was abroad, he shared with me the scenery and delicious food from different places every day. He took pictures of what. Good girl. If there really was a previous life, Mom would never have left you alone. You must not have told Mom about your hardships. From now on, tell Mom everything and don't suffer alone. I burst into tears. I cried loudly in my mother's arms for my past naivety and being so love-struck. Early the next morning, I heard my mother talking on the phone with someone in the bathroom. Kitty number 1, get ready. Violet will be getting up soon. What on earth was kitty number 1? Why would my mother talk like that? After I washed up, my mother asked me to go downstairs to buy breakfast. As soon as I walked out of the hotel, I saw Quentin standing at the entrance. There were countless words hidden in his eyes. He made an okay gesture towards upstairs. I turned around and saw my mother at the window also making an okay gesture back to him. Did they collude with each other? Quentin, how did you bribe my mother? He spread his hands, looking helpless. I didn't bribe her. I won her over with love. Now, whenever I heard the word love, I felt horrified. Ethan, that hypocrite who always talked about love, said the same thing. I don't want to be in a relationship. He held my hand. I know. Ethan is a bad guy. Auntie told me that you had a dream about your previous life. In that life, Ethan treated you badly. So, you're afraid, right? I didn't deny it and nodded. But I didn't want to say anything more. I can wait until the day you can accept me. I've waited for 23 years already. We're still young and have plenty of time to wait. This was the first time I looked directly into Quentin's eyes. His gaze was very firm. The redness in his eyes couldn't be faked. It was as if he was pouring out all his feelings accumulated over the past 20-some years. I didn't respond to him. But he still sent me messages as usual, constantly sharing interesting things in life with me. Quentin, Violet, my cat can do a backflip. Do you want to come and see it? Quentin, Violet, what if I have a terminal illness? I panicked. What terminal illness? Quentin, oral ulcer. Question mark. My parents always invited Quentin to our home for dinner. Every time my father saw Quentin, his eyes lit up. He lamented my poor judgment. Sure enough, people with bad eyesight are stupid. Such a pearl is right in front of you, yet you insisted on choosing that lousy stone before. Was he talking about me? During dinner, my father blatantly whispered to Quentin in front of me. Kitty number 1, your progress is too slow. Dad, if you want to whisper, just do it quietly. Don't let me hear it. Hey, I'm talking to Quentin. Why are you eavesdropping? I was too lazy to pay attention to them. When the new year arrived, I wanted to take a picture of the fireworks outside the window and send it to Quentin. Just when I was about to send it, Quentin sent me a picture of fireworks one step ahead of me. Quentin, I'm going out. He quickly sent a message to ask, where are you going? I didn't reply to him. Half an hour later, I showed up at his doorstep and said, you'll know when you open the door. He opened the door with a towel wrapped around his lower body. Quentin, did you do it on purpose? I'm wrongly accused. I was really taking a shower just now. You put hair gel on your head and styled your hair while taking a shower? After I exposed him, instead of being embarrassed, he smiled and pulled me into his arms and closed the door for Quentin. How dare you take advantage of me? Believe it or not, I'll hit you. He grasped my fist. Anyway, I've already reported to your parents. If you beat me up and I'm injured, I'll stay at your home for the rest of my life. After saying that, he rubbed against me. I'm here to see the cat. Get away. I'm kitty number 1. Later, he brought the cat out. The cat looked helpless as if it was forced to work. After saying that, he rubbed against me. I'm here to see the cat. Get away. Quentin, have you liked me since high school? Quentin, who usually acted carelessly and talked in a frivolous way, blushed when I asked this question. You haven't even confessed your love to me, and you want me to be with you? Quentin and I were too familiar with each other. It felt strange to develop from friends to lovers. I bet that Quentin wouldn't dare to confess his love to me seriously and would only talk big. Violet, I like you. After hearing his confession, I blushed instead. However, it didn't start in high school. It was in junior high school. Looking at Quentin's sunny and unrestrained face and the beautiful lines of his abdominal muscles on his upper body, I couldn't help swallowing. He immediately put my hand on his waist. "Violet, don't be shy. Feel free to touch, Quentin. Believe it or not, I'll hit you." He hugged me tightly around my waist. "Then let's fight in another place." When his voice lowered and fell beside my ear, my face turned bright red. "Violet, don't tell me you're shy?" I retorted. "No, I'm not." I directly moved closer and kissed his lips. Later, we covered ourselves with the quilt and had a passionate fight. When I was falling asleep, I vaguely heard Quentin saying beside my ear, "I'm sorry that I didn't protect you well in the previous life. In this life, I won't let anyone hurt you again." The end.